And you're very welcome back. It's always a great time with you here on the Good Morning Nigeria show. We hope you've had a good time so far. It's about to get even more informative and about to get even more interesting. Just to let you know, stand by with your phone lines. We're going to be speaking on substance abuse in Nigeria, particularly the face of substance abuse in Nigeria. If you want to join the conversation, just take the phone numbers at the moment because it's going to get really heavy very soon and we might not have time to let you know. But please feel very free to interrupt us at any point in time to ask your questions or give your comments. Remember, you can also join the conversation on Twitter at GMNSCoolTV or on Facebook, the same GMNSCoolTV. Phone numbers 01277 8196, 01277-2196, and of course 01277-196. There's also a toll-free line to call just in case you need a bit of freedom from that, and it's going to be flashing on your screen in a moment. Joining us for this discussion, we have from the Freedom Foundation, Shola Adiola, who is the Executive Secretary, and Sheson Oshatimein, who is the Program Manager for House of Refuge. This is an organization committed to working with people who are under the influence or who have abused some substance or the other in the past. You're very welcome on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. So the first question a number of people want to know is, what is substance abuse? We know some people have an idea of what it is, but as professionals in the field, how would you describe substance abuse? All
right. I want to break it down for everybody to understand. I don't want to go, academic.
Please break it down.
Addiction and substance abuse, sometimes we use it together, but let's start with abuse. It's compound word, abnormal use.
Okay.
So when you have a particular medication, maybe prescription, and you're not using it the way it should be used, that's, abuse. When a doctor asks you to use maybe a pain pill 2 times a day, and you decide to use it 4 to 5 times a day for 6 weeks, that's abnormal use.
Okay.
Now, when you move to the next level, that you can't do without it, then it now becomes addiction.
So abuse comes before addiction.
Sure.
It
depends.
Does abuse usually end up in addiction?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no, depending on the individual
of abuse.
Right. So, Grace, you mentioned substance because Olive was asking a question earlier on about what constitutes the substances that can be abused.
Okay, so many. Yeah, a lot of people abuse coffee.
Please, all of you workers who like coffee in the morning and who can't function without coffee, please listen.
How about tea?
Well, you can abuse any substance, but abusing tea will not lead to an addiction.
I would say that don't call tea. Okay, I don't know of tea because I have a beverage I usually take and they always attack me for taking it, but it doesn't have nicotine or caffeine or any of all those harmful substances.
So if we talk about food, you can be addicted to food. Food can actually be abused. The function of food is nourishment. Once you go beyond nourishment to taste, to greed, to excesses, you have problems of obesity. So for every substance, there is abuse, and it can lead to an addiction. Now, some people may not be addicted to food, but because they abuse it, they become obese. You'll find that some people who are obese, sometimes you will see that they're not eating that much, but in terms of the needs for their body, you understand what I mean? And if you actually sort of confront them with the issue, they can go on diets. You see some people seesawing, first quarter of the year after Christmas, they've gained weight, they lose weight, they gain weight, they lose weight. Those are all signs of abuse and needs to be treated. So it can be as simple as food. It can be shopping. People who are not able to control their spending because shopping is a means of covering up some other psychological challenges that they're facing. So almost any substance can be abused.
Now, in terms of in Nigeria in particular, because you work with people who have come to your organization to be rehabilitated, what are the top substances that have been abused?
I think I'm going to break it into 2. Now, there are the behavioral addiction, and then we have the drug or chemical or substance of abuse. Now, in behavioral, we talk, like she said, we have people that are into shopping, pornography, movie, in fact, help addiction. Help addiction, anger. Some people
Sorry, please, can you break down help addiction?
You just you want to help everybody that comes your way.
I know someone
at
like
the
that.
expense of
yourself.
your satisfaction or your joy.
I know someone like that.
Right.
Then we have, now, to your question,
Yes.
drugs of, abuse or substances. Now, the most common one in Nigeria now is, it starts with cigarettes.
Okay.
In Nigeria, then it progresses to cannabis and alcohol.
Okay.
From alcohol, we have cocaine, heroin, marijuana, it goes on and on. Then prescription drugs.
Now, there are people who would disagree with you when it comes to terms of alcohol, to be precise, because as youths here, alcohol seems to be like the foremost way to catch fun on Fridays. Hashtag TGIF, they'll go and down a few bottles. Now, some people have said that they can handle their alcohol, they know their alcohol limit, and even if their limit is 10 bottles of a particular brand of a beer, it's not abuse because they are drinking it and they're not getting tipsy, they're not getting drunk.
Yeah, but if you're looking at the definition of abuse or addiction, it must conform with any of the following things I'm going to mention. One, are you taking it beyond the limit? Are you having issues when you stop taking it? That's the withdrawal. Because then another one is your body tolerance. Now, to you, you might say, okay, yeah, I can take 10 bottles, I don't have issues. But what of your body tolerance? Can your body really take that 10 bottle? Okay, if your body can take 10 bottles, are you having issues staying off alcohol for 2 days, for 3 days, for 5 days, without having the withdrawal or craving?
Yes, I think the first true test is, can you stay away? Yeah. That's the first true test of addiction. And the test of abuse is your body tolerance. What can your body take? Because I think alcohol is one of the most insidious, most destructive substances across the world, simply because it is romanticized and glorified in entertainment and in media. And it's seen like the cool thing to do, but the damage to your body, yes, we know cigarette causes cancer. Everyone knows that cigarettes cause cancer. It's on the pack. But with alcohol, they talk about, oh, don't drink and drive. And so people think that it's something they can control, but they don't talk about liver disease. They don't talk about jaundice. They don't talk about the damage to your body. It's very interesting how people can run into problems where they will need a liver transplant. And if by the time you need a liver transplant, it's not as if livers are just growing somewhere available. You can die. You can actually die from alcohol poisoning, not to talk of the external effects, not to talk of the fact that your decision-making ability under the influence of alcohol is impaired. So you make stupid decisions.
Thank you so very much. Just for those who are just tuning in, we have Shola Adiola here with us. She's just spoken. And of course, we have Sheson Oshatimeyin from the House of Refuge. And they're speaking to us on substance abuse and substance misuse in Nigeria. If you'd like to join the discussion, the phone lines are flashing on your television screen, and you can call us or send a tweet at GMNS Cool TV. Now, in Nigeria, one of the things that parents do not like to admit or face the fact, or guardians or relatives, is that one of their own is abusing hard drugs, for instance. The first reaction is, God forbid, not my portion. And again, some people do not notice until perhaps the problem has gone beyond, almost beyond redemption. We know there's not almost, it can be redeemed. But what are the signs that it can be caught early? It can be, you can find out early from a young man, a young woman who is abusing drugs or who is using hard drugs.
Okay, you said something just now. I want to pick it from there, that God forbid. But I want to say man should also forbid. Now, there are so many things parents need to understand about their children and the relationship. Now, there is, because of the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria, parents will go out in the morning, come back at night, so they don't really have time to train or to observe their children. But one of the most important things you need to know is their ability to keep or maintain friends. Because a lot of them, they keep changing from the friend you used to know them with, that are, the friends you can trust, to friends that you begin to wonder, when did this person come into your life? Okay. Then two, they start withdrawing from the family member, friends, loved ones. Just stay in a secluded area in a room, or just, they don't want to talk to people. You begin to see, sign of redness in the eyes. You see that they cannot, concentrate for a long time. For students that are in school, they cannot, the grades start dropping And these are red signals that parents can easily, notice in their children. And also their mode of dress. Their room becomes dirty, they become dirty, not well kept, air not caught as at when due. Then at times you start noticing things missing. Okay. Either money, jewelry, valuable things, because there is need for them to fund these habits.
Okay, so Sheson, you've mentioned a few points. You've mentioned that the things to look out for as a parent are the fact that the child becomes isolated, the child becomes unkept, starts their mode of dressing changing their friends, and things could get missing in the house, like money. So
just to clarify, I think the first thing is change of behavior. Change of behavior. There is a certain, you start to see someone a bit more erratic, a bit more short-tempered, so they're a bit more impatient, and from any age, as young as 10.
I was going to ask that, at what age should you start? Because some people would say, okay, he's still young, maybe it's just...
From age 10, you have to be able to, you have to know your child's personality. And you have to observe if there's and it may just be like, oh, the person is impatient, but you have to notice impatience, loss of temper. If they have siblings, it's even more obvious because there'll be increased tension between the siblings. Change of friends, they don't become isolated, they just change. Like Sheson said, all of a sudden, there are new people that are hanging around them. But the withdrawal is from family, from old people who knew them from before. Because they're changing, and most people who are struggling with an addiction, they don't necessarily like who they're becoming. So they don't want a reminder of who they used to be or who they were. So they withdraw from people who knew that. And I was going to say, what Sheson said, the most critical are things going missing, not just jewelry or valuables in the house. Parents need to check their medicine cabinets. Because actually for younger children, as much as they're exposed to cannabis from the outside, inside the house, codeine is the #1, cough syrup is the #1 drug addiction, and that is readily available. Is it just
just cough syrup, like normal cough syrup?
Most cough syrup that have codeine.
So people are addicted to it.
Codeine is a substance that leads to addiction. So you have to also check your medicine cabinets. In fact, I think it should be a standard in the household. Parents should take stock even if it's once. Well, every day might be a bit much, but even if it's as simple as once a month, once a quarter, just be observant about the things just in the house. You can stop an addiction before it gets too far.
In addition to codeine, I think I would also like to add painkillers, because I have seen painkillers. I have seen someone get high from painkillers. I didn't know painkillers could make you high. She was in intense pain, immense pain, and she took more than the usual dosage, and she started ranting, and she said, I'm high. It was a very traumatizing experience for me. But now as a parent who has noticed this, what is the next step this parent should take? Because a lot of parents, like Ayo mentioned earlier, would either go, God forbid, they want to take them to church. Much as I don't want to downplay the importance of religion and spirituality in matters like this, what is the most logical thing for the parents to do?
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you say take them to church. In a country like Nigeria, that's actually not a bad thing, because the first step is counseling. And most churches tend to have sort of a welfare unit or a counseling unit where they can actually talk to the child. But what matters is the type of counseling they receive. A lot of the reasons why people don't get the help that they need is because the kind of counseling they receive is don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. By the time someone is addicted, you need to actually almost love them out of the addiction. And that's the methodology that we apply at House of Refuge. We need to go through a process of, first of all, they need the medical detoxification. If it's something as simple as codeine or painkillers, a period of abstinence, or even alcohol, a period of just staying away and allowing your body to just flush it out of the system. But during that time, when you're addicted to a substance, you crave it, you want it. And even, I don't know, I mean, let's even take a simple thing as sort of abstaining from food. When you're on a diet, all of a sudden you want to eat all the more. When you are fasted, all of a sudden you see food everywhere. So there has to be someone with that child. I mean, any parent who notices this needs to actually sort of make it a priority, because it's going to require a lot of time and a lot of support. It's not the kind of problem that you pass on to a third party, even where there is help. The parents' social support is very necessary. So you need to detoxify the person from the substance, and then you need to proceed to a process of counseling. And counseling where you try to understand what led to taking the substance, what led to the addiction, what's going on in the person's life. Is it friends? Is it bullying? Is it self-esteem? Is it, because at the end of the day, there is a reason why the person became addicted, and you need to solve that problem so that they don't go back to a different form of addiction later on in life. They learn behavioral coping mechanisms so that it's almost as if internally you're building up a structure within the person psychologically so that they can abstain on their own and they can stand on their own 2 feet. I don't know, Sheson, if you want to add.
And also, I would just tell parents, you don't need, that's not a period to panic.
Okay.
Because you need to now strengthen the parent-child communication platform. Because you need to know the reason why he or she is going into addiction. That, I mean, okay, we even need to understand why would people want to go into addiction. A lot of people are doing it because adventure, they just want to try it. Yes. Some people want to rebel, because I just need to rebel. Some people need more energy to reject or to think or to have the mindset that I can be assertive. Okay. Some people use it to spike their energy to perform better. I have a lot of clients that will tell me, oh, I went into cannabis because it helps me, it calms me down, so I'm able to think and creative. Some people say that about
alcohol as well. The alcohol has a, I drink it and I just feel all right.
With cigarettes too.
Yes,
like cannabis is a depressant. Okay. So when you take it, it brings, kind of serenity, and you're able to, for some of them that are into music industry,
inspiration.
They claim it brings inspiration. But there are other people before cannabis became popular that composes songs without cannabis.
But the thing about it is that all of these substances have medicinal uses. There's a reason why they allow you to take cannabis when you're a cancer patient, when you're in so much pain. The cannabis actually calms you down. Have you ever heard the phrase Dutch courage?
Yes.
Taking just a glass of alcohol, make that guy feel more confident to go and talk to that girl. But it's not meant to be abused or used in excess when you now start to rely on the substance. And you will find, especially in entertainment, when you get into the place of addiction, the substance that caused your creativity starts to be the one to destroy you. We've seen it several times.
Because it's popular, I would mention his name, is one who is dealing with it. Initially, it must have been used for what you mentioned earlier on, but now we see that, in fact, they're raising funds to try and get him back to what he was, in the past.
And I would also like to add, I think when it comes to abuse, it's not something that is restricted to age. A lot of us think they're easily influenced as teenagers and as youths, yes, but adults as well. I've seen people who start having addictions at an older age. Yes. So it's something that it spreads across all age brackets.
So, I mean, it's interesting that you talk about age brackets. I would say the most dangerous time to become addicted to a substance is actually at the teenage level, which is why it's a critical stage. Because the nature of addiction is that it changes your brain chemistry. Your brain does not fully develop until age 25. And the last area to develop is... forgive me, I'm not a medical doctor, but I know that the last to develop is the part of the brain that deals with reasoning and decision-making and inhibitions. So if you start abusing substances in your teenage years, that part of the brain doesn't fully develop, and it changes the way you process pleasure, chemistry, and it can actually impair you for life.
Forever.
So that's why it's actually important to ensure that the teenagers and young children, because of how it changes the body chemistry and it affects brain development, you need to catch it young. For people who are older, the challenge now becomes how long they've been on the drug. So if they haven't been on it for too long, they can receive help so that it doesn't negatively start to change, behavior start to change. I mean, there's some drugs that the side effects are so bad that you can pass a point of no return. So even if you get off the drug, you never stop twitching, you never stop fidgeting, those things don't go away, and they're irreversible. And that can be with some prescription medication. And so it's very important for people who are around them, because drug addiction always happens. It's a social, alcohol, drug addiction, these things happen in social environments.
Gatherings. Wow. Thank you so very much, Shola and Sheson. Thank you indeed. Thank you. Some people might want to ask you questions directly or want to seek help, perhaps people, family members, or even individuals themselves who want to get out of substance abuse. Are you on Twitter or Facebook or any social media platform?
Yes, we are. Freedom Foundation is at freedom_FDN.
Okay.
And they can also visit our website, www.freedomfoundationg.org.
All right.
And they can also send us an email, info@freedomfoundationg.org.
All right.
And we also have hotlines for House of Refuge.
We can tweet
them
that,
out.
the
Yes.
hotline,
Okay.
so that people can, because a number of people might not be confident enough to say this out on air publicly, but might want a more personal interaction with you.
Yes.
And so we do encourage them, if you want to, you can follow us on Twitter. We will tweet their details as well, so that you can follow up on the discussions this morning. It's been quite a heavy discussion.
Yes.
I'm sure you'd agree with me, but it's one that is really important, because more and more we have seen incidences of these issues, and unfortunately it's at a point whereby it is almost getting to a point of no return. So thank you for coming to speak, and thank you for the work that you're doing at Freedom Foundation and House of Refuge. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have had Shola Adeola and Sheson Oshatimehin with us in the studio. Remember, you can connect with them via our social media platform. But right now, Mr. Victor has the news for us here on GMNS.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.